Chapter 1. The 8th of July 2009, 1 am, Begunkodar railway station, West Bengal. He ran, gasping for air. Sweat and water added weight and unintended exhaustion to the gloomy evening stroll. The dark night along with the torrential rains had the path pitch dark, leading him to an ostensible reassurance. Difficult it was, but he kept going as he knew it wouldn't stop chasing him. After running a mile, he arrived at the station. When he raised his head, there appeared the name he had pleasantly read a million times before, but now struck fear in his heart. Those three words seemed to be the most horrific ones he had ever read, probably because this was the first time he was reading them while actually being on the platform, rather than glimpsing from a passing train. As the water poured down, the dust cleared from the wall. There it read, amid lightning, in bright black ink on a yellow background, Begunkodar in Bengali, Hindi, and English. The sign was put about half a century ago, but it still appeared freshly painted as if someone took care of it their entire life. It was terrifyingly novel. The immaculate surrounding was radiating vibes he had never experienced before. Air, mud, dust, fragrance from the flowers, everything smelled completely natural. It seemed as if there had been no human presence in this part of the world. Being isolated from the men, Mother Nature held itself in its purest form. After a millisecond's rest, he continued sprinting. He reached the middle of the platform and had a quick look around while his legs were still in motion. There was debris of broken glasses, doors, torn rooftops all around the place. The floor beneath him had many cracks. Some deep ones even depicted the very ground on which it was built. Algae and bushes had taken over the entire area of the fencing walls. Everything was aging from the time he had not even been born. The spare railway tracks were all rusted by just lying there, unused, untouched, from the beginning of time. Running the 300 meters long platform felt like an eternity to him, but he still made it. He drank a pint of satisfaction on seeing the platform's end. He was about to exit when came a loud call for help.
Sahaya.
Without a moment's hesitation, he turned around only to trip from the edge of the platform and fall directly into a broken gate's junk. The pain was unbearable. There was no one behind. No one in front. No one to help. No one to cry to. He should have realized this by now. This was the worst and the last grave mistake he would ever make, run towards the platform. The spear-headed gate top had pierced deep in his army pants, ripping out his right leg's thigh flesh, and got stuck as it hit the bone.
Sahaya.
He screamed as blood gushed out of the wound. He knew it wasn't the time to stop and snivel away, as then it would have a better chance of putting him down. Holding the foot in pain, he managed to hop on the other leg and try to remove the gate's top. The angle bend curvature made it almost impossible to remove it from the leg. But making excuses wasn't an option. He loosened his leg by hanging it partially in the air. Supporting his body on the other leg, he firmly grabbed the base of the cylindrical rod opposite to the pointy end. Gathering all his strength, he pulled the rusted iron out. The curvature was drawn out, and with it came a chunk of mass. More blood gushed out, exposing the bones beneath the flesh. He grunted in agony. But the run had just begun. He continued onto the path ahead, staggering to a slow death. Mushy grass covered the area in front for a few yards, while the rest was blanketed in the dense forest. His surmise was getting darker than this night of tear rains. As he wiped his eyes of the rainwater, suddenly there appeared a ray of hope. Twitching his eyes several times, he tried to concentrate on the dim green light at a distance. It seemed to be coming from a barn. A faint smile ran across his face. When the light got brighter, his lips spread broad enough to touch his ears. Burning down the remaining calories, he sprinted at his utmost pace, but the barn kept moving in all the possible directions. The ground moved backward as he ran ahead. For a moment, the barn came close, then a moment later, it went far. There were even 2 or 3 barns at one moment. Left and right, he turned, never losing the sight of the vivid light. Disappointment incremented through his veins when he realized that he hadn't moved a meter closer to the barn. He ran harder and harder, but he still made no progress. He halted for a moment and took a quick peek at his thigh. It was getting worse as the flesh hanging was about to come loose. The pain was equivalent to thousands of needles piercing simultaneously through the flesh. Taking dozens of deep breaths to regain consciousness, he raised his head. The momentary rush of blood to the brain pushed him out of the delusion. A clear sight of a lamprey flying over his head now resonated in his brain. The glow struck in his eyes and mind. It flew left and right, dancing in a dazzling path. He realized that he hadn't moved towards the barn. In fact, there was no barn. Instead, he was jumping and hopping and swinging on the patch around the insect, trying to reach its glow. No barn, no hope. He looked all around, only to spot it still screaming.
Sahaya.
There were delusions all around. A lamprey in this rain, the scream, the barn, they were all part of an illusion. It was no longer a cry for help, it was a query for help. He didn't want any help from it, even though there was no hope of survival. Many incidents from the life appeared before his eyes as he wiped the now flooding tears. The 11th hour had passed. The doom was near. He stopped trying and headed towards an adjacent Carolwood tree, still lingering in pain. It was a fairly enormous tree with enough stretch to grasp him whole. And soon, it was going to. Sitting beneath the tree, he checked his right boot. It was filled with blood and rainwater. His shoe had gotten so tight on the swollen leg that it became impossible to remove it. He shifted towards his right where the roots were a bit flat. Abandoning the pain and sorrow, he drank the last few drops of life from the rain while loading his 9mm. He switched off the safety mode and aimed the gun directly at his head. Asking for forgiveness. He pulled the trigger. His skull burst open to splatter a large amount of blood. A dense red fluid gushed out of the rupture. The forest resonated with the loud thud of the gunshot for a while, then the downpour took over, and it was the only sound that filled the dreary night. Sahaya was the last word he heard as his eyes shut forever, and it fed on its next victim. The rainwater washed the body lying on the ground while the soul already found its way.